3, 2, 1, 0.
Hi guys, welcome back for the second episode of Some of This, Some of That. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. If you wouldn't mind subscribing, sharing, and liking so that this can get out there, because you never know who I might be able to help. So last week I kind of touched on a little bit of my what I call abilities. Maybe you want to call it psychic, maybe you want to say she's a witch. Whatever you want to call me, I have certain abilities, and that played into a lot of what happened to me on that night. And I also think that my bipolar kind of plays a lot into these abilities, because to me, people that have certain mental health issues, I believe that some of us actually can just see or feel things that we can't describe. So then we're just labeled as crazy or insane. And guys, don't get me wrong. When I start to tell my stories and stuff, you're gonna say, this bitch is fucking nuts. And I mean, you're not entirely wrong. But this stuff really does happen to me. And I'm just somebody who's very in tune with the things that are going on around me. And I believe we all have these abilities. Some just are more sensitive than others, and some just don't want to deal with it at all. And so I kind of wanted to touch in on a few things and tell you guys a few stories about certain like big things that have happened to me, as to why, so that you guys know my perspective on what happened that night. Because a medical team might be able to say this, and this happened, but to me, it was so much deeper than that. So I'm kind of going to go back to saying, like, ever since I was a little kid, like, I always knew something was a little bit different with me. I kind of just saw the world differently than most people, felt things differently. So some of the things that I have the ability to do is I see colors. They come to me like just random flashes. They come to me, sometimes I blink my eyes and I see different shapes that are different colors and stuff like that. I don't ever know really what they mean. I met with a different psychic before, and she had said everybody means different things for them. So you kind of just have to feel what you're feeling in the moment and kind of like base that off that color. So I've tried to do that throughout the years. One of the things is like intense deja vu. And I know a lot of you have probably experienced deja vu here and there in your life, but mine is like crazy. So back when I was about 14, I think I was on my way to pick my friend up from her church camp that she was going to with her sister. And we wrecked the car. We hit this giant boulder and spun into this field. And I remember the entire accident. I remember smacking my head off of the one windshield, flying this way because I wasn't wearing a seatbelt, don't recommend, and then flew back the other way. And when we got out of the car, I was looking around and there's people kind of like running to come help us. And there was this lady, she's blonde hair, was wearing this like Harley Davidson shirt. And I looked around and I'm like, I've seen this before. Like, I've been here before. I don't know when, but I've been here before. You guys can call it the concussion, whatever, because I did have a very, very bad concussion after that happened. But I was with it. Like, I still remember everything that happened. Like, we were standing in this field, the grass probably like knee high on me, because guys, I'm 4'10", if you don't know that. And this cop was like, do you know where your phone's at? I'm like, yeah, I know exactly where it fell. So I grabbed it and then I threw up. And so like we're standing in this field where like the throw up's like right on his shoe. Sorry. And I was like, do you want to go over there and do this? And he's like, if you can. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So we call my mom, and then when I get into the ambulance is when like everything just like, I just started acting really goofy and just saying things. But because of that really bad concussion, I ended up being on half days of school. And my mom wouldn't let me do anything, which, like, granted, I get it. Like, this was back in the era, guys, when AIM was just a new thing and social media. And so, like, I wanted to be on the computer, be on my phone, and my mom wouldn't let that happen because, like, the light is not good for a concussion. And so I picked up a pencil and paper and tried to start drawing, and it turned out really good. And, like, looking back on them now, they're, like, not anything special. But I couldn't draw before that. And I'm like, what the heck? And to the point where I went back to school and went to my art teacher, and he was like, Summer, where did this come from? I'm like, I don't know. I guess I had to get hit my head to be able to draw, but here we are. And it's just so weird because, like, I knew I had been there before. And, like, art now is such a huge part of my life. It's a way that I try and help people. I actually started a charity recently called Why God Why, and it's in honor of my cousin's 3-year-old son who passed away. And I paint portraits of deceased children for their families, and along with all the other art that I do, that is just, it helps me express my emotions. And had that not happen, I probably wouldn't be able to do art. But so with that being said, these, like, gut intuitions that I have always had. So as I'm healing from this concussion, that was also a time when we all started partying. I do not condone underage drinking. I do now think that alcohol is a poison, and I don't drink anymore, but we were young and dumb, and that's when we started partying. And I remember the one day my friends were like, Summer, we're going out tonight, you should come. And I was like, okay, yeah. And then I had this gut feeling, like this pit in my stomach that said, Summer, do not go. And so I listened to it because for some reason I was like, no, I cannot go. Well, that night, my friends ended up getting into a very bad car accident. My one friend broke her back. My other friend broke her femur. The other one had a really bad concussion. And like I said, I'm 4'10". So had I gone that night, I was always like one of the smallest ones. I would have been sitting on someone's lap. I just know it. And I already had a really bad head injury. I know in my gut, if I would have went that night, I would either be dead or be a vegetable. And so from that moment on, I knew that I needed to trust my gut and trust myself and trust everything that's going on around me. And that's what I think we all kind of need to do. And so that kind of plays into, I just think this story is so crazy. It's so, like, simple, but trusting the universe around you. So when little things happen to me throughout the day, and I will tell you, the most annoying stuff happens to me throughout the day, most of the time I laugh it off because I know there's a reason that's happening. When I walk out a door, my coat gets caught for that second and pulls me back. I know that it's because, like, who knows, I could have gone into a car accident or something could have happened. If those seconds, time means everything. So this particular time, I went to the woods with my one friend, and he was setting up his, like, hunting thing because hunting season was about to come in. And while he was doing that, I'm like, I'm going in the woods. And I started walking deep and deep and deep in these woods. And, like, I've never been to this place before, so I don't know these woods. And I just keep going and going. And guys, I like to think I'm walking in, like, a straight line, but if anybody has ever walked next to me, you know that I walk like this. So what, I think I'm going straight and that I can go straight back, that's just usually not the case. And so I'm starting to walk and walk and walk, and I can't find, like, where he was setting his stuff up at. And I'm like, great, we have no reception, so okay. But I'm like, just trust that the universe got you. And so I start walking, and all of a sudden I'm walking this way, okay? And this way is where he was setting his stuff up at. So I'm walking, walking, I don't see anything over here. And then all of a sudden, I had a ponytail in, and this branch pulled my ponytail back, and it pulled me back. And I just laughed, and I said, guarantee he's somewhere around here. And I turn over, and there he is setting up. Had I kept going that way, I would have been very, very lost. But I trusted the universe, and I found my way back to where I was going. And then one other thing that also does happen to me is when I go manic, I have this crazy energy that runs through me. If you're not someone who has ever experienced a high manic episode, it's hard to describe it to you, but the best way I can describe it is kind of like, I was thinking last night, like how you have a pop can and you open it and it sizzles, and like you can kind of feel the bubbles in that can. You can't really see it, but you know it's there. You know what it's looking like. It's rising to the top. Like that's kind of, for me, I guess, what mania is like. I feel this energy that just kind of goes over my whole entire body. It's honestly the craziest feeling ever. Like, a doctor asked me one time, how do you know when you're going manic? And I said, they say Spider-Man has spidey senses. Well, my lips tingle. Like, I just have these senses. And so because I carry this crazy energy with me, technology usually does not work around me. I mean, like, obviously I can use a phone and stuff like that, but trust me, it glitches constantly. When I'm higher, like, I can feel it, and my technology is not working even more. And so I want to tell this story because this is probably the craziest thing, because I have so many of these wild stories that will probably get told in further episodes and everything, but this one really made me realize, like, okay, like, this is actually happening. So I was at a Verizon store getting a new phone, and I met this really sweet girl there. I loved her, and we were just talking, having the best time, and I started telling her about some of my abilities. And when I tell people my stories, it's either they don't believe me at all, I can see it on their face, or they do believe me and I can feel it, because I get this very like excited feeling, and I know that they're feeling my energy. And so like I could tell she like believed me. She was real spiritual herself. And then we're sitting there and she's trying to like start this new phone for me. And all of a sudden she goes, "What the heck?" I was like, "What?" She's like, "My Wi-Fi just disappeared." And I'm like, "Really?" And she's like, "No, I'm so serious." Like, I literally can't even find it. She's like, "Summer, I've been working at Verizon for 5 years and I've never seen this happen before." And I just laughed, and she goes, "If I didn't believe you before, I 100% believe you now." And I was like, "I told you." And so she's trying to do things. She went into the back and got her own personal hotspot to try to like do this. Like nothing was working. And I looked at her and I said, "Do you want me to leave for a little bit? Like, honestly, I can leave for a little bit and come back." She goes, "Do you mind?" I'm like, "Not at all. Hit up Five Below. It's right here." And so I left, and she was able to get it done in like 10 minutes. And I was like, I knew that was me. And so the night that everything happened, there's so many layers to it. So many weird things that were happening, so many feelings, so many things of like, I need to do this and I have to do this. And this was kind of like written in the stars. And so when I just want to just show you guys something, because when I went to the psych ward after the night of everything happening, during that time I was trying to reinvent my art business, because I want to do everything, guys. I have so many talents, so there's just so much I want to do. And so I was trying to like break everything down, and I wanted to call it Chameleon, because I feel like I'm a chameleon. I can like adapt to every situation I'm put in, but each letter of Chameleon was going to be a different business. And I remember the guy at the psych ward, like the nurse or whatever, was like, Summer, do you think that many businesses, like that idea is a good thing for you right now? And I'm like, I got this. I'm going to do this. I have to do this right now. Just like, leave me alone. I'm coloring in a corner. Like, I'm not bothering anybody. And he's like, okay. And so my friend Deidre, who is like kind of involved in all of this, I had been drawing her stuff, sending her stuff the whole time. And the other day she says to me, I was just looking at your chameleon like business idea thing, and it's super weird because you're kind of almost doing everything on there. And I was like, I know. I kind of think that I was in a way predicting my future. At the time, I thought it needed to happen like right then and there, but it was just so much information getting thrown at me all at once that I didn't know how to handle it. So I was so sporadic and all over the place. But now, 5 years later, I'm like, no, I was predicting my future. So I have this thing that I drew in the psych ward because I kept a couple things. And so this is what I drew. It's a little chameleon smoking a little joint. And each letter of chameleon was something different that I wanted to do. And so the first letter is C, and it says clarity. And that is what I wanted to be like my charity, some way that I could give back. And I'm doing that now. This is called Why God Why. So like everything on here has a different name, but like the idea behind it is still there. Like I'm doing it. It's so weird. And then so Hush I wanted to do like this little speakeasy thing, which I will definitely be doing some sort of like not speakeasy, but something with that, but it won't be called that, but I'm not revealing the name yet until it comes because it's too good. Faded. Faded was going to be a barbershop, but now it's called Some Fades. So there's that. There's the M and the E, and I was going to do like, I don't even know, like selling like oils, like CBD oils and stuff like that with somebody. Which, who knows, you know? Refresh I wanted to do some kind of like spa thing, which that could happen in the future for sure. Yell, which is what I wanted to call my podcast, and here we are with the podcast called Some of This, Some of That. Be Beautiful was gonna be where I kind of like inspire people to be you, be yourself, but that kind of goes into my podcast, so it kind of just goes into one. The other one is Zumba, which I was like, I don't like to work out. And then Paint to You, which I do have a business called Paint to You where I go to people's houses and show them how to do a little painting real quick. So not every single letter on here that I'm doing right now, but a lot of it, that's the thing that I had to learn, was 7 years ago, I thought that it was all happening right now. Now I realize it takes steps and it takes time to do these things. And I had to be in the right headspace, and now I finally am. And so next week I'm going to kind of dive into a little bit more of that night and the lead up of that night and everything. So tune back in next week. Also on Sundays, I'm going to start reading poems because a lot of my poems have to do with my emotions. That is how I process my emotions fully. There's so many things I want to say, but when I put them in a poem, it's so powerful, and it's about time I share them because they're really good. I mean, I think they are, and when I read them to people, they tell me they are. They might just be being nice, but my family is pretty brutally honest, and so when they tell me something's good, I know it's good. So tune in next week. Please, please, please subscribe. It costs you $0 to subscribe. I can't even talk. And then like it and share it, because you never know who I could help and who might just want to hear this, who might think I'm cool. I don't know. But thank you guys so much for tuning in again.